Now, tomorrow marks the start of a new decade and several new laws will take effect.
Our legal expert, Wendy Patrick, joining us now inside the law. Wendy, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, we'll start with health care. A lot of new laws in California now. You're required to have health care. There's been a lot of confusion over that. What changes starting tomorrow?
Well, we will have, like you say, required to have health care, but many of these laws, and this happens to be one of them, won't actually be enforced until sometime after we file our taxes. I've looked at a lot of these new laws, including health-related laws, and I've sort of broken them down just briefly into 4 categories. We've got data, drones, doctors, and dreadlocks. Those are some of the most interesting new laws. So let's go to doctors first, since we're talking about health care. Yes, that is something that everybody wants to be aware of, is the individual mandate, if you will, for Californians. But remember, doctors are also in the news for providing exemptions from vaccines. You may remember the coverage during this travel season of measles outbreaks and people getting infected at airports. So if a doctor has a certain amount of exemptions that they grant, they're subject to review to see why they're granting these exemptions from vaccines. But when you talk about data, we live in an age where privacy concerns are front and center. And so we are going to be seeing many new laws that seek to protect our data. Part of that has to do with our ability to seek from companies that gather the data, what did you take? What are you looking at? Who are you sharing it with? And can I get those things back? Can I have that information back and be able to say that you can't use it? But also on the subject of data is new drone laws. Now, you've seen these things. I mean, I just looked at beautiful footage that you have, the SeaWorld camera drone. That's fine, because anybody doesn't have a reasonable expectation of privacy in a setting like that. You cannot use drones to invade a space where somebody has a reasonable expectation of privacy. I can't fly a drone outside your window at night.
There are people flying their drones outside somebody's backyard, by the pool, and that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, lots of stuff.
Well, going back to healthcare, because I know something has changed for women too, right? Those who are seeking birth control?
That's right. So it used to be the case where you had to have at least a video conference visit, and now the new law says that you can get a prescription for birth control without that. You know, those kinds of laws in healthcare change very frequently. You know, we have the distinction here in California of just having so many different types of laws that change all the time, that my advice always, you know, there's just no substitute for Googling those new laws and reading exactly who they apply to, who they don't, and what types of healthcare services you can and cannot obtain under these different circumstances.
Unpaid lunch bills for students. There's something on the books in 2020 about that as well.
That's right. So students cannot be denied a lunch option if their parents, for whatever reason, haven't paid the lunch bills. So this isn't necessarily a case of poverty shaming, because we all know parents that for whatever reason, maybe they just get busy, they fail to pay those bills. So the students will still receive lunch. It might not be the exact same thing that they would have had, but it will be an acceptable alternative. I shudder to think what we were able to buy at nutrition when we were growing up. Those options are no longer available.
Not at all. And a lot of times you find that California does lead the way in the nation in terms of these laws, and a lot of other states watch to see how they develop, and then maybe eventually they adopt those as well. Is that still kind of a trend?
It is. And you remember I said data, drones, doctors, and dreadlocks. So we also have a law that says you cannot discriminate against somebody in the workplace for their hair, however they wear their hair. So you're correct in saying that the rest of the nation follows us, but it would also be correct to say that we have many more new laws every year than many other states.
Very true.
So they're going to have to do a lot of reading and Googling and research to be able to follow us to begin with.
Or you just get Wendy Patrick to come in and explain it all.
If you have the whole rest of the day, I'll sit here and I'll go through them all. I think we have 1,200 new ones this year.
That many. Wendy Patrick, thank you as always. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you.
Good to see you.